Hey, what's up, Greg?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Guessing you can hear me.
I can hear you. How are you, Dan?
Right on. Yeah, hanging in there, man. Busy day. So I am attending remotely tonight while Ernest is gonna catch any of the in-person folks. So
You're in Bellingham, right?
yeah, Ferndale. So I was actually down there earlier, right by where we meet. I was at the mall earlier today because I'm on the board of directors at the Makerspace, which is in the mall, and so I was down there paying the rent, and I thought about just hanging down there, but I have so much work to do, my day
Yeah.
job, and man, I miss those multiple monitors.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. I know how you feel. Busy. It's like I don't know if I don't think the situation was similar in the US. I'm in Vancouver, Canada, by the way, but we had a fresh wave of Christmas lockdowns and it felt like there was barely a holiday. Now it's just back at work.
Oh yeah, it's I think we're done with lockdowns here, man. Honestly, like
Good.
I mean,
Glad.
I don't see him doing it again. I just don't see people like, I mean, hell, they're not even, I mean, the mask mandate is barely being adhered to in a lot
Yeah.
of places. Like I go into restaurants and shit, people don't even wear them on their way to and from the table, which I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, like I don't know. It's one thing if you're wearing your mask like walking around, but I mean, shit, if you're eating, it does feel kind of dumb to like
It
there
makes
was
it
one place
difficult.
where I didn't where like we sat right next to the bathroom. And so
Mhm.
like when I got up to go to the bathroom, I mean, it felt stupid to put my mask on to take. It was literally 4 steps,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
then yeah, if I'm alone in the bathroom, I'm gonna take the fucking mask off,
Yeah.
because I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely not one of those anti-mask people by any means. But just, I wear glasses, I have a beard.
It's
Like
the worst, the glasses, huh?
yeah,
I wear glasses too.
there's a number of things that make it just not ideal. you know
Yeah.
and again, like I'll wear one if I'm around people, it's fine, but then it's also like if I'm not around people, like I'm, the only time I've worn the mask in the car is if I've forgotten that I had it on, or I won't lie, I'm a bit of an asshole, and I know that it really bothers some people when they see someone alone in their car wearing it. And so there have been a few times where I might have put a mask on just to piss off random people, sort of like trolling in real life.
Yeah. So you're not anti it, but you're sick of it like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not against the masks at all. You know, to be honest, if they had a mask that was like uh worked well with my classes and like didn't, I don't know, didn't make my breath feel so like hot,
Yeah.
I would be all for it, man. But like I have yet to really find one like that. So,
Fair enough.
it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, I'll wear one when I go out, but I definitely noticed that there are quite a few people that don't really. What do you do? What do you do up in Vancouver? Can you
I
say?
work for a startup. We make a IoT um, like it's fuel measurement product for the mining space. So it's like a hardware product. I don't know if you've ever seen those mining trucks that are bigger than houses, but we make um, a product that's installed into those and
Are you talking about
should
actual
just
mining, like gold mining?
yeah, yes, but not crypto mining, like gold mining, copper
Yeah.
mining. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
So
I
I
have seen
manage.
those trucks. That's when I knew what you were talking about. At first, I thought you were talking about crypto mining, and then when you said trucks, I was like, you're probably talking about some kind of precious metal. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know a lot about that, but there's a guy. I don't think he's actually in my Toastmasters group anymore, but used to have a guy in my Toastmasters group that was a gold guy. That he had a like a company, I think, based out of Alaska, where they
Yeah.
did theirs off of the bottom of the seafloor, but
Oh
he
wow.
talked about some of the other kind of things. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
There's underground. There's open pit. I didn't know there was seafloor gold mining, but it doesn't surprise me. We just do open pit, but I manage the most of the client base and the sales process for the company.
Oh wow, fun.
So It's been an interesting 9 months, to say the least. It's like just a bunch of like risk takers, right? Like when you think of the sector, it's like, okay, well, we think there's minerals here, and we'll spend $500 million seeing if there is or if there isn't, and then if that's the case, we'll like mine the thing for like 30 to 40 years. Different. And it's commodity driven sector, so it's boom or bust, and it can be very like, depending on where you are globally, it can be like a kind of very different business culture.
Yeah, so how does that work? Do you guys actually mine in Canada, or are you mining elsewhere around the world?
We have clients in Canada, the US, Indonesia, Australia, Brazil, Peru, Colombia, most of LATAM. So it's global, but right now we're only on we're only between the Pacific Ocean, so we don't have any clients in Africa or Europe or the Middle East yet. But fingers crossed that changes soon. We do it like the way we run it, right, is by like language. So I work with all the English language clients.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, I kind of fell into this job like not really by accident, but like got it kind of coming out of recruiting during COVID, which was not fun. Kind of took a year to get this position, but it's been good. As soon as it works out like that, right? You kind of just fall into a job and make it work. And
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I have a job that my boss slash colleague slash guy who not really got me the job, because I did have to go through 5 interviews to get the job, but like he's the one that told me that the job was open and encouraged me to apply, and so like he has his job though because I got him into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And because of that, he was able to like talk about Bitcoin when he met the CEO of the company. So like.
And do you work in Bitcoin? Like, does your firm do something like that?
Yeah, kind of. We're like the crypto cops. I work for a company called CipherTrace. It's like analytics and intelligence basically. So we help we help law enforcement with tracking down,
That's cool.
using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to do bad stuff, and then also help banks and stuff like that are trying to maintain compliance. So we just got bought by MasterCard a few months ago, so that was kind of a big deal towards the end of the year. So
yeah, I mean, that sounds like it'll be a huge sector in and of itself. I'm sure.
I mean, I can't. I'm not allowed to share like specific details, but
of course not.
Let's just say that. I mean, I chuckle when I see the boomer conversations about like, crypto is a fad. It's tulips. The government's going to shut it down. Like, they really have no idea what they're talking about, man. Like pretty much every major bank, government, pretty much every major financial organization in the world is actually starting to take this stuff seriously now. I mean, if you went back in time 5 years and told people, they'd laugh at you that there was this degree of like institutional interest. So
I'm sure Brian Armstrong got laughed at a lot in like 2012.
Yep, exactly. What's up, David and Glonky? How you guys doing?
Hey, how's it going? Doing pretty good.
Not sure if you can hear us, David. Yeah, no worries. Glonky, where are you from? Are you here in Bellingham or are you elsewhere?
No, I went to school up there though. I went to Western years ago. So I thought I was looking around at stuff, and I thought this looked cool, so I decided to join.
Right on. Well, welcome. Hopefully, I just pinged Ernest, who's my co-host. He is he has a space that he offers for the meetup that, usually I'll go down there and start the Zoom, but I'm actually swamped with work tonight and I'm trying to multitask. And so I need those extra monitors. So I'm just working from the house here. So I think he'll be joining in a minute. we'll see if anybody showed up in person. So where are you these days? So you went to school, you said up there, so I'm guessing you're probably like what, Oregon, California?
No, I'm down south in Seattle.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
that far
yeah,
south. Yeah. So
yeah,
south,
yeah.
but not like south.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been getting into the crypto space. I was mining like 4 years ago, mining Ethereum, and just kind of like dabbled in stuff for a while, and then over the last year or so, really get into like Web3, DeFi, and doing some development in there, and yeah, just like messing around, getting aping into some weird shit and stuff, and so it's been quite a ride. It's been pretty fun.
Awesome, man. So are you trying to do like development work in the space then?
Yeah. So I've helped a couple companies out already with some just like freelance work. I'm a software engineer by trade. I studied computer science at Western, and yeah, so I've been doing some dev work and getting into Solidity and smart contracts and all that kind of thing. And yeah, it's been fun. It's definitely pretty cool. I love it, actually.
I mean, the whole idea of programmable money is just like, I don't even think people, I don't even think, people that are in the space really fully grasp the consequences of what it will lead to. Like, I mean, you look at like, oh, hey, there's Ernest. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Hold on a second here. I'm trying to
Yeah,
go
no
full
problem, no
screen.
problem. Anybody show up in person this month?
Yeah, we do have. What was your name again? TJ did show up, and TJ saw all of the RSVPs people that were supposed to show up, but you know how that goes. They say they show up. It's the holidays. A lot of people got stuck in
that's pretty
airports,
common.
right?
It's really easy.
Yeah, we're here.
Click.
Can you see us? Here, let me turn this around.
I can see you. Yeah. It's real easy to click yes on a computer screen, right? And then maybe not so easy to even join a Zoom is still like a little. Here, let me hook my camera up. Hold on 1 second. I just bought a new 4K camera so you can see my ugly face in higher resolution.
So they're keeping you busy, eh, brother?
Oh my God, dude. Like I almost stopped by earlier. I was down there to pay the rent for the makerspace at the mall. And then I got so much work to do, man. I had 15 tickets at that point. I got it down to 9 now, but I'll probably be out here in my office till like maybe 9, 10 tonight. So
what are you doing, tier 3?
Making that money, man. Mostly provisioning accounts right now. We had a ton of stuff come in over the weekend, just kind of like a rush of, sort of stuff that got a lot of it came in on Friday in a year stuff. And like we're doing some international provisions and stuff like that. And so like, yeah, it's just, it's fine. The good news is a lot of it, I mean, really none of it is what I would call time sensitive. I knocked out any of that's part of my job is like being able to prioritize that stuff, so I definitely got all the high risk or high value, high priority stuff knocked out. Any of the low hanging fruit, got all that. I have my tiers that I start with, right? Do the real important stuff first because that's important. You want to get it done. Do the real easy stuff because that makes the count go down real quick, makes you look like you're knocking them out solid, and then you chew on the other ones until they're done. So
I hear you. All right.
So TJ, what brings you to the meeting tonight?
How's it going? I came last month, and there was a couple other people here, and we just talked through some of the. I'm basically just a newbie to it, so just talking through the steps, working through the steps, learning, watching lots of podcasts and reading lots of books.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I didn't make last month. I'm trying to remember what was going on last month. I think I was traveling for work. Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a wild couple of months, man. It's been a weird year.
You gotta do what you gotta do, brother. No problem. We understand that.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate you, Ernest. David, I don't know if David join, and then I don't know if he stepped away or not. I don't know if you can hear us. If you can, if you want to unmute and say hey and let us know what brings you in today, you're welcome to do that.
Hey, what's up? I'm just here because Glonky actually
All right.
recommended it,
All right.
and I'm very new
name's-
to the space,
My name's Lou.
so just
Right on.
just here to learn. But yeah, Glonky told me about it, so I was like, I'll check it out.
That's awesome, man. Are you also based out of Seattle, or are you somewhere else?
Yeah.
We have some
Yep.
in person, and we also have
Nice.
people on Zoom.
Yeah, but I don't really know anything about it at all, so I'm just kind of here to listen.
Continue meetings.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we're all learning. I mean, that's definitely the and you know, we don't normally have like an agenda or anything. We normally just kind of talk about
all three of my vaccinations.
you know, whatever. A lot of times,
You know,
people have questions
So I'm not
about a
so
certain thing, and they want to
worried
find out
about it
more
here because we
information
don't have a
about
lot of traffic.
that kind of thing.
Cool. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate you hosting.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's easy for me. I just joined a Zoom. Ernest is the one who actually has to like talk to people in person. So
Yeah.
I'll turn my
Well,
cam
nice
on
to
for a
meet-
minute just so you guys
nice
know
to
I'm
meet-
like not a bot.
Nice to meet everybody that I have not met. David, are you new?
Yeah, I just Glonky had recommended it, so I'm just here to listen
Okay.
and learn. I don't really know very much.
Well, this is why we have the platform. And this is why we took the time to provide it for our locality, our local community, because it's important to know because this is a digital monetary system, peer-to-peer. And once people wrap their head around the opportunities that they can gain from being educated, at least in this space, at this point, I can't even imagine anybody that wouldn't want to be. Most of you know how centralized banking works. Most of you, if you're telling yourself the truth, your money in your savings account, you're not making nothing on it. They don't give you nothing on it, but they make money on it. And I just think people should be a little upset about that. You know, think about if you had 100K in a savings account, you'd make a whopping $10 at the end of the year. How much money did the bank make on your money? You know, it just really comes down to those, you know, these are questions that people just are so busy and they're bankable, and that's better than being unbanked, because if you're unbanked, that makes even more difficulty in trying to deal with this current monetary system, okay? So it's a new day. Everybody really needs to educate themselves because you have total control here in whatever it is that you decide to do. I push and promote education. If you educate yourself, a lot of people, you know, they're in a hurry to throw their money into certain things that they're not quite educated in yet. So, you know, I try to take people down the lane where they can learn to earn a little bit of crypto while they're educating themselves to the blockchain and what the blockchain is the gold, because there's so many opportunities that stem from the blockchain, the creation of Bitcoin for one, okay? So we know that original, as I refer to it, blueprint created Bitcoin, okay? But we know that from that original blueprint, just like I always make reference to Linux, because you know Linux has how many operating systems, and you don't have to pay for any of them. You just have to download them and learn how to operate them and use them. And most, you know, developers, you know, add to what we've seen created in Linux. So you're kind of like, just like this is the second internet, basically. When I look at it, I mean, a lot of people didn't believe the internet was going to be able to produce a lot of the technology that it has, and it will continue to. And now it's even getting more advanced, and there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike. And yeah, you need to really educate yourself. And there's no excuse not to, because even if we didn't have these platforms, you have Google, you have YouTube. Again, do you want to take the time, like, you know, some people say, well, who are these people? You know, how can I believe what they're saying? You just have to listen to them and follow them. You know, that's what I do. They're consistent. Podcasters and YouTubers are consistent. They found something in the space that they want to share, and that's what they do, and they're consistent. And they always tell you they're not experts. They're just giving you probabilities of the possibilities, if that makes sense.
think we got a couple more new folks, Zur and Freba. You want to say hi? Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
Weren't you here last week? I mean, last month?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, it's me, Freba. So do I need to say a little bit more, or I'm just fine?
Oh yeah, if you want, I wasn't able to make the meeting last month, so and I think we have a couple of new folks. So if you just want to say hey and where you're from and what brings you here.
Okay, perfect. So I am Persian and I am in Canada. So I was curious to learn more about crypto, because nowadays it's everybody wants to learn and everyone wants to buy. So I just want to learn what crypto is good to buy and how will be the future with crypto.
Well, those are valid questions, and we will do our best to answer whatever questions that we can for you in this particular event. And you're welcome to continue to come to this event. And there's some extraordinary people that I've met over now 5 years, I guess, Dan. Been almost doing this thing 3 years with me, and then my previous partner, I think we were like 2. So yeah, over 5 years we've been doing this, providing the opportunity. And being that we're a border town in Bellingham, we do have a lot of people from Canada, Oregon, and other countries, actually, some extraordinary people with some extraordinary talents. And they are just like you. They're curious now because everybody's hearing so much about Bitcoin. Now they want to know, how do I get me some Bitcoin? Okay.
Yeah,
so you're
exactly.
The right spot.
Thank you so much.
Right,
well, I missed the first part, so I didn't get to.
It's okay. You haven't missed anything. We're just going around introducing people. That's all.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And so Clonky, is that right? Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Oh yeah, Glonky. Yeah, this is my online alias. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you've been here before?
Not to this meeting, but I've been in the space for a while.
Okay.
And I've been doing. I'm a software engineer. I was telling Dan that I went to Western, studied computer science up there, and so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've actually been doing some Web3 development over the past 6 months or 8 months or so now, and yeah, it's been pretty interesting.
All right. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you with us.
Yeah. Thanks.
And Mr. Greg Pitts, have I met you before?
I don't think so. It's my first time here.
Your first time? Okay, well, welcome.
So I'm from Vancouver, Canada. Although I work very close to the border, so it's, I could come in person.
We always welcome our neighbors.
Pending the global health crisis abates, and
I hear you, brother.
You can get in.
Trust me, I know. I know it's the biggest scam I ever seen, boy. $400 and you get into Canada in what, 72 hours or something like that? I don't know.
Well, they removed the for about like 47 hours or something like that. The 72-hour like vaccine window was waived, and you could do short trips across the border, but they just reinstated that a few weeks ago.
I mean, they've basically got it here now where the CDC is telling people like, oh yeah, about 5 days after you feel better, just go back to work. It's fine.
I know.
They don't care. Whatever.
It's just crazy,
I feel like give it like a year, and the CDC is going to be like, yeah, it's fine. Just sneeze into your arm, and it's fine.
It's your elbow.
Yeah, you can just work during COVID. No big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's just extraordinary how there's so many different approaches, I guess I should put it. But people initially will do what they feel comfortable doing. So that's just life, right? But anyway, besides that, we're glad that you're all 98.6 and breathing here tonight with us.
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing. So yeah, I guess we have a new individual in the office here. You want to introduce yourself to the group?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Luke. I'm from Bellingham, where we're at right now. And yeah, I just saw this event on Meetup, and I've been into Bitcoin for a while, and yeah, I'm just trying to connect with people and diversify, and yeah, out more about like lower cap altcoins and leverage trading and a little bit of NFTs now. And so I'm always trying to find like that next thing, and it's great to just network and see what other people are into, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's why they call it community.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
Totally.
community of like-minded individuals with the same interest, all knowledge, but you probably have something that you basically may feel more comfortable with. But there's a lot to learn, okay? Just so that you know that. But that's not a bad thing, okay? I'm gonna throw some numbers out here. There's 95% of the world doesn't even own any crypto. 3% of the world are male. And since 2018, the women's movement, women in crypto, is the other 2%. Okay, so those are pretty good odds when you look at, you know, the possibilities. Okay, and some people just want to do it passively, and then other people want to share with other people where the whole community benefits. You know, there's different avenues that I dive in because, you know, I know a little bit of all this stuff. But my good friend here is traditional. Most people with Bitcoin are naturally hodlers. Okay.
So did you say naturally hodlers?
Naturally hodlers, they hold their coin. That's why in 2013, 26,000 millionaires were born, because they believed in the project and they stuck with the project. And this is how projects work. You know, there's a little, you know, obviously there are important things to know about it. I mean, if you're doing it all on your own, or, you know, if you're doing a cloud-based type of mining or whatever, there's a lot to learn. And do you have the time to educate yourself on any particular area? But I think that in computer science, what they teach us a broad range of technology, and then you just specialize in what you feel that you enjoy doing out of that. You know what I mean? So in other words, what you're going to do in this space is you're going to eliminate the middleman, the one that you've trusted all this time with your hard-earned cash, you know, putting it in their bank, them, you know, letting them use your money to make more money and give you hardly any money. It should really make you mad. It makes me mad, you know, when I look back of all the money that I, you know what I mean, that lost or gave away without knowledge, people. Without knowledge. I tell you, that's when I started to focus on the space. I started to handpick people. It took hours to find the elite group that I know what they're talking about. Okay. And still, even if they know what they're talking about, I have 4 or 5 other people that I listen to as well. And then I cross-reference. You know what I mean? And then that's going to make the best decision for me. Okay. So if I don't know, what am I looking at? I'm looking at, is somebody going to take advantage of me because I don't know anything about it? Okay. Not here in this space. We educate. We don't charge you for this. You know, we gather it. We make it available for people to come and do exactly what we're doing tonight. Communicate with what you've been able to do or what you know. And, you know, nobody's saying that we're geniuses here. We can only attest to what we personally done. You know, I'm not a financial planner. I don't give financial information. I just share people what I've been able to do with the options of what I've been involved in and what I've been able to succeed in. They make their own decision. You know, that's the disclaimer. We want to make sure that people understand that. We're not financial planners here. We're not giving you financial advice. We all are in a common space where we're all some of us are more experienced than others, and some are like you. This is how they learn to come here. And then you get an opportunity to share something. So with that said, I'm going to go ladies first here. Okay. And, you know, you have some questions you would like to ask Reba? Is that correct? Reba, are you with us? Can you hear me, Dan?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, Frida, if you're trying to talk, you're muted.
Sorry, yeah, I just
Oh, okay.
I was on my
Okay.
phone till I
That's
unlocked
okay.
my
It's all
phone.
good.
Sorry.
It happens all day long. 15 Zooms a day I do, so it happens all day
Yeah.
long. So I
Thank
wanted to
you.
give you the floor, ladies first,
Mhm.
and whatever questions that you have, we are here to listen to your input.
Sure. I want to learn about crypto trading. I have heard from some folks that they are earning good money on crypto trading, but I'm kind of not trusting that because I was holding some Bitcoins and I still do, but I sold some Bitcoin, but I still hold Ethereum that I have and Bitcash. So I want to know how much is that true? Like, is there something by this name, Bitcoin trading? If yes, then whether it's true, people can make lots of money, like on hourly basis or daily basis by doing some trading.
I
Well, I
mean,
was, go ahead.
go ahead, Ernest. Now go ahead.
I would just go ahead. I would just tell you that you got to be very careful.
Yep.
Okay. You just got to be very careful. Everybody is claiming to have everything that everybody else has, but they don't. Okay. And
Anything,
yes, go ahead.
anything that's automated, anything that says, oh, upload Bitcoin to us and we've got a trading bot that's going to trade for you, almost anything like that you're going to find is a scam. There are some very few out there that are legit services. They're, anything that says, oh, we can give you like a 10x return. I mean, anything that's promising you or any kind of return is probably a scam. I mean, realistically, I mean, my method for Bitcoin, I've been involved in the space, gosh, at the end of this year now, it'll be 9 years. So I got involved in December of 2013 and had a pretty remarkably successful strategy in that time. I buy Bitcoin, I hold it for a couple of years. It's worth more than what I paid for it, and I don't have to worry about the day-to-day fluctuations. The thing with trading is even if you do find, like, let's say you had a bot that makes the trades for you, right? Every single trade counts as a taxable event, and you definitely want to pay your taxes on that stuff. I mean, regardless of your personal feelings, like I'm not super keen on taxes personally, but I still pay them all because I like not being in jail. And so regardless of what like whatever you think about it, like, oh, taxation is theft. I mean, okay, cool. But like, if you don't pay your taxes, the IRS is going to throw your ass in jail, whether you personally like agree with it or not. And, I don't ascribe to that like sovereign citizen crap. None of that stuff, in my opinion, works. Other than like you might find one judge who like you annoy them, or anyway, I'm getting off track. The short version, like Ernest said, be very careful. Anything that says, oh, I'll be an account manager, I'll have a trading bot. Nope, don't do that. They need, if you're going to be doing trades, like if you're executing the trades yourself, that's probably legit. If it's some weird platform that you've never heard of, probably would stay away from that. You're welcome to send stuff to me. I actually, I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff. I come from like an information security, cybersecurity background. If you have a question about a particular site, I can't use any of my work resources for that, but I'm happy to just use like open source, publicly available data to look at that exchange or site and tell you whether or not I think it's legit.
Oh, okay. Thank you. And if somebody sends crypto to a platform, and if that is not a true platform, then cannot extract the crypto.
It's gone. Yep. And they'll get these guys are tricky. It's tricky. They'll get you too, because what they'll say is oh, we just need you to verify your account, and in order to do that, deposit X amount, and then you can withdraw it all. And they'll try and they get people that fall for that send them more money even. I mean, it's sad to see. Do not let greed cloud your judgment. It is easy to do in this space, because you see these stories about like, oh, like this guy made $1 million off of Dogecoin or whatever the story is. I mean, those stories are exceedingly rare. That's why they're getting news articles written about them. If it were common, then nobody, there'd be 1 million articles about 1 million people doing it. And it get to the point where there'd be so many, they wouldn't even write articles anymore. it's not easy money. You know, it is. I will say, and when I talk about cryptocurrency personally, I'm talking about Bitcoin. I'm mostly a Bitcoin maximalist, but like, it is so easy to make money in Bitcoin. All you have to do is buy it and wait. That's the hard part, is waiting though. Everybody wants, you know, and I get it. I mean, I got fucking bills like everybody else. You know, I could cash out my Bitcoin and pay my house off, but then I wouldn't. See you, David. Have a good one. But then I wouldn't have any, you know, I wouldn't have any Bitcoin left. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's not a good deal for me. I'd rather wait 10 years out of my 15-year mortgage and pay it off early and still have 90% of my Bitcoin because of how much it's appreciated.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even think it'll take that long personally, but we'll see.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, and maybe one more question, if I'm not taking too much time for.
No, go ahead, go for it.
So right now, Bitcoin is, I mean, very, I mean, expensive. So one person cannot even buy, I mean, I cannot afford to buy one Bitcoin. So what other crypto that you guys suggest it's good to buy today and wait that there is potential for going up?
Do you mind if I get this one first, Ernest, since you know my
go ahead,
answer
brother.
is going to be
Go
pretty
ahead, no
easy.
problem.
Yeah, you know what my answer is going to be. Like I said,
Yeah,
I'm pretty much a Bitcoin only guy. So what I would say to you, Freeba, is don't get caught up in what's called unit bias, right? Everybody wants to own one of something. The thing is, though, is Bitcoin is digital. There's not really any like a one Bitcoin is really just 100 million Satoshis, which is the smallest unit of a Bitcoin. So like you could buy 500 Satoshis, like probably a couple of bucks worth, something like that. I could send it to you right now. And if Bitcoin goes up 100%, then so does that amount that you have. I would say if you feel like watching something, go on Google and search for the next Bitcoin is Bitcoin Andreas. Just that. Actually, I'll post a link in the chat. It's this guy, Andreas Antonopoulos. He gives a speech about, you know, why the next Bitcoin is still Bitcoin. And there are all these other coins that, you know, wanna be, they all say, oh, they're going to flip Bitcoin's market cap, or most of them do. The reality is that Bitcoin is Bitcoin. So
you mean that if anybody wants to buy, so just buying Bitcoin doesn't matter how much.
Yep, exactly. If you buy $100 worth of some altcoin and you get 100 coins because they're $1 each, or you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin and you get whatever that is, 0.00, you know, whatever, some fraction of a Bitcoin, you know, personally, I think there's a lot higher likelihood that 10 years from now, Bitcoin is still going to be around versus some whatever random altcoin you picked.
Like what opinion. Like Ethereum went up this year.
I mean, okay. I mean, like, I think that, you know, maybe Ethereum is the exception. I mean, I don't know. I don't personally buy Ethereum, but I do have a little bit just because I bought some in the past, and you know, I don't know. I mean, maybe Ethereum is the one exception I would say to that, but other than that, I mean, there are so many coins that, you know, used to be even like number 2, number 3 coins that are either dead or pretty much dead projects at this point. I personally would not trust anything except Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum to be around 10 years from now.
Oh, okay.
Just my personal opinion. And Ernest, I'll turn it over to you because I know you have thoughts on that.
No, and I agree with you. Again, you know, there's a lot that needs to be learned. And I'm going to tell you, altcoins are just like penny stocks. Okay. You're going to have to stay on top of that 24/7. Okay. So you're going to have all the bells and whistles and notifications. So when you know you get some profit, then you can move that profit into the only stable coin that I would use at this point is Tether, because it holds 100% of its value. And that's what I recommend to people that want to trade. There's a lot of people that want to trade, you know, and so we try to make sure that we provide whatever they need, anywhere from tokenized real estate to DeFi savings account, NFTs, you know, and, you know, you have to be understanding one thing, that all of this evolved in the last year, maybe, okay? And it's becoming more popular. I'm going to say that it's not been tried and tested. That's not to say that there's not a good return, but again, you need to educate yourself before you get involved. And like Dan said, just don't get greedy. You know, I tell people that if you're a big baller, you know, then, you know, buy a Bitcoin and just sit and hold it. You know what I mean? Or, you know, or there's other coins out there, but you're going to be taking the same position. You're going to be investing and hoping that it goes up and that you're on top of it when it goes up, and then you can pull your profits. Otherwise, you know, you can get so caught up in those altcoins. I mean, that's all I hear people talking about: altcoins, altcoins, altcoins. And I say to myself, penny stocks, penny stocks. You know, because you know you got to become a day trader. You know, if you're doing penny stocks, right? You got to get up early because the market's open and close at certain time. You got to be on top of that. And if you got that kind of time, you know, most people don't. You know, your best bet is Bitcoin, fractionalization, and Ethereum. And most people are just holding it, hoping on the gas prices will come down to where, you know, they don't get beat up so much on it if they try to turn it into instant liquidity. Okay. For me, if an opportunity doesn't provide instant liquidity, I have no interest in it. Why do I want to give you my cryptocurrency to hold for, you know, 10 months, 20 months, 21 months? You know, who's making the money? You know what I mean? They're making the money because they're holding my coin and they can be jump through hurdles to, you know, get instant liquidity. So I just don't get involved in anything where I can't get instant liquidity. Bottom line, that's just a rule for me. Okay. But I know that, you know, you can go out there and buy some fractionalization of Bitcoin, you know, and you can just hold it. And then when it makes a profit, because it's going to go up, it's very volatile. You just got to stay, you only have to stay in tune with two coins, Bitcoin and Ethereum. When you get into the altcoins, now your probabilities. Some people have done well because that's their whole job. Their whole life is invested in this space. So, you know, but most of them have lost money. Don't let them tell you they haven't lost no money, because they have. That's what making them get sharper on whatever they decide to do. So rule of thumb, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Okay. But you know, just know the limit of your eggs that you have. In other words, I tell people, if you spend your soldiers, how can you make more?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you spend it in your soldiers, then how are you going to continue to make more soldiers, right? So you got to be very careful about how many soldiers you're spending, right? You know what I'm saying? That's really what it comes down to. That's the simplified way. You know, because we all have overhead. We all have things that we're responsible for, families. You know, you look like you're pretty young, so I don't know if you're married and have kids or not, but that's not really important. But sounds like you're trying to build what I refer to as legacy wealth, and that takes time.
Yeah, I do. I do have family, and I just want to buy some Bitcoins for their future,
Okay.
for my kids. But
And you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot to ask questions, and you
Yeah.
know, based on how many and how much, you know, I just think, like Dan said, buy you some Bitcoin and sit and hold it. It's very volatile. You
So
know,
how
it's
much?
predicted.
How much for a new? I mean, for a new
Well, just,
investor
you know,
will be good.
don't spend too much. I mean, I would just say, now it's just advice. I'm not a financial planner. If you
Yeah.
got $500 to start with $500. If you
Okay.
got
Yeah, I mean, it definitely,
you-
you know, that's the cool thing about crypto is it really could be any amount. I mean, you can go on
Right.
Cash App, and buy $1 worth of Bitcoin, $1.
Exactly.
You know,
So-
I mean, it's
so-
very low
PayPal
barrier of
too.
entry.
So
And PayPal
question
too.
a question comes out of question. So what platform do you advise? I have a Coinbase and a ShakePay. So
Okay.
which one do you think is good to go with?
Yeah, I've never used ShakePay. I've heard of them. I've never personally used them.
Are you
I use Coinbase, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
are you in Canada, Freeba?
Yes.
Yeah, I interviewed at ShakePay a year or two ago.
Nice. That's why I've heard of them. Yeah, they're one of the, and that's why I've not used them, because they're Canadian only. If I recall.
It's Canadian.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, I would say, you know, that one's fine. Coinbase is fine. Really, you know, there are a few of the big ones, right? Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, Binance, like any of those should be fine. The one thing I would say though is, you know, definitely once you get above a certain amount, and that amount is really something you need to decide for yourself. For some people it's $500, for some people it's $5,000. You know, I have actually more crypto than probably ever before on an exchange right now, because I've got some buy and sell orders in at different prices. And so I'm trying to, you know, trying to play around with, I've been in the market for a long time and I haven't really done any kind of trading. And so I'm kind of trying to dabble my foot in it now. So I've got a little more than usual on an exchange. But the point is, whatever amount you decide that you're comfortable with, once you hit that amount, move it off of the exchange and into a wallet that only you control. Because that's, in my opinion, that's the whole point of Bitcoin, is that, you know, people can't take it from you because you're the only one that can control it. Well, if you're using a centralized exchange, that's not true. The exchange could, there was what, Quadriga, right? Was the one up in Canada that went, that they absconded with some funds, but that was, I think, the one where the guy like faked his death, or might have faked his death or something. You know, it's like so you can avoid that kind of stuff completely. There was another really high profile one many years ago called Mount Gox, MT Gox, that was another kind of high profile exchange. All of that can be avoided if you just simply move the Bitcoin into a wallet that you control and only you. And there you go. As long as you don't fuck up and lose the key, then you're good.
Yeah.
And I would throw this in here also. Those exchanges, they're custodial wallets, meaning that you don't own them. Okay. The exchange owns them. So the rule of thumb, like Dan says, is you don't ever want to leave a lot of your crypto in an exchange, because if they implode, your crypto's gone.
Yeah, that's the other. That's a, you know, that's a good point too. It might not even be that they're bad actors. Maybe they just get hacked, right? Like maybe they just don't have good security. It's not always that, you know, that people are bad or evil. Sometimes they're just, you know, stupid and incompetent.
There you go. Because I learned common sense isn't common anymore, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know that it never really was, but yeah.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. It's a sense which is not with everyone.
Just being honest, right? You know?
Yeah.
But you're in a good spot here. Nobody here wants to take advantage of you. We want to make sure that you get educated enough to take care of yourself and your family. That's called legacy wealth.
Yeah.
This is a good vehicle to do that. You don't really have to be afraid. Just come up with an amount, you know, and know, like Dan said, you know, you have Coinbase, you have Cash App, and you also have, what's the other one?
Ethereum?
No, not Ethereum. Talking about platforms. Regardless, you want to make sure you have an external wallet. Do you have an external wallet? Do you have do you have an external wallet?
I have a wallet too. Yeah, with Coinbase. I do.
No. I'm talking about one you control. That's a cold storage wallet. It's an
Oh,
external.
no. I don't have cold storage, but I have a Coinbase wallet.
Yeah, check out like a thing, you know, again, once you have above a certain amount and whatever that is for you, right? Maybe let's say $1,000, right? Once you hit $1,000 worth of crypto, I mean, a hardware wallet is under $100. So at that point, you know, doesn't it make sense to buy? You can buy especially if you look out for a sale, you can get a Trezor Model T, and then the Ledger Nano S, I think, are the two of the entry level ones that, you know, you can catch them on sale for like $50. And so you have $1,000 worth of crypto. It's like, how do you not justify spending $50 to have a secure device that only you control to actually keep that crypto safe? If you're going to be holding it for the long term, right? Like if you're in this for like a multi-year, why risk leaving your Bitcoin on an exchange for multiple years, you know, knowing that there have been so many high profile like hacks and people running away with money and stuff like that, exit scams. Just I don't know. I mean, I'm a paranoid guy, I guess. So for me, it helps me sleep easy at night
That's
because if
just
I
No,
being
no, no,
smart,
it's,
brother.
it's,
That's all.
it's better to be safe than sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
agree.
'Cause,
Yeah.
especially with crypto, way more than any other type of money, maybe except I guess cash or gold. When
Mhm.
it's gone, it's gone. If somebody runs off with it, then I mean that's it. And I
So,
mean,
so,
unfortunately, that's the nature of what it is.
so this cold storage will not be affected by virus?
Well, it's not that yeah, basically. I mean, yes, that's a short version. I mean, there are definitely still, so like when you use the hardware wallet, you're going to hook it up to your computer. There are definitely pieces of malware that can do things like swap out crypto wallet addresses in the computer clipboard. So there are still definitely some things that you got to look out for. I did, gosh, it's been probably a year ago now. I did a free Crypto 101 class that talked about some of that stuff. And I have a recording of it. I'll paste a link in the chat. If you want to check that out, you're welcome to. It's a little
Sure.
boring, but it's free. So
No, it's okay as long as it gives me information. Why not?
And can you give her that information on those wallets, Dan, as well? Just in case you didn't
yes,
catch that.
definitely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Also, so I
So we're
posted
here
that
to help you.
Andreas link.
So
I
we're
forgot
here
to
to
post
help
that
you.
Andreas link too, so I posted that as well.
Okay,
Perfect.
awesome. So there you go. That's some
Thank you.
homework for you. Okay,
Thank you.
so
Homework,
you know,
yeah, homework.
Yeah.
that's
It's a
homework.
10-page, single space, 12-point font. Don't use any of those filler words either. I know how.
Well, thank you. Thank you both.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're very, very welcome.
I think Wonky had to drop, but Greg, I do want to give and Luke, and I forget, sorry, the other gentleman's name too.
TJ.
Feel free
Yeah.
to pipe in as well if you guys have questions that are either in line or even just different questions. I mean, feel free to shout out.
Honestly, my position is basically that I barely know what crypto is, right? Like I have some very high level, like very abstract idea, but certainly understand and appreciate that it's by no means a get rich quick thing. So I'm just kind of curious about learning more about the fundamentals and kind of building token interest and going from there. So I don't know if either of you have any suggestions as to how to do that, or if that's something you cover in other events, but that's kind of where I'm at. I think any question at this point is is a good question to answer for me.
Well, you can definitely take advantage of the information in the chat for your own.
Dan posted.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I just posted that last link that I posted. That's actually I kind of started it, and then I do that. I'm like ADHD, and I tend to overcommit stuff and juggle too many things. So I started this website where I was trying to curate some Bitcoin resources, and then I never really finished it. The good news is that there are already plenty of very useful links up there, including the one link that I highly recommend. There's a link there under the introductory. It's the last link under the introductory section. Jameson Lopp's Getting Started with Bitcoin page. Jameson Lopp is a Bitcoin developer. He has put together that Bitcoin page that I linked to that has literally like thousands of hours of videos and podcasts and articles to read and white papers and whatever it is that interests you about Bitcoin. There's probably a section there about it, and that section probably has hundreds of hours of content for that thing alone. So that is like, that's the real treasure trove. Mine is just like it's like the water slide that leads you to the ocean. So enjoy that. I've had a couple of friends that really just like dove deep on that Jameson Lopp page and are now like hardcore cryptocurrency nerds. So
Sorry, is this the page you linked in the chat just now, or is it in the Meetup event itself?
yeah, that's, so go to that. Here, I'll just post a link to Jameson's page. Hold on one second. Let's see. So this is his Bitcoin information page that has, just like I said, just thousands and thousands. I haven't actually looked at it in a while. it's literally like twice the size that it was the last time I looked at it, as far as all the different links and stuff that he has, podcasts, blogs, books, like he kind of has different things about, if you're trying to get into trading, he's got an advanced trading section, so I mean.
Yeah, and this is wow, this is very thorough.
Yeah, I mean, thorough is probably like doesn't even really scratch the surface. It is comprehensive. Like, yeah, we could just use all the adjectives for it definitely it is broad and deep. So have fun if you're a reader. Really, even if, regardless of what type of you're into podcasts, audiobooks, videos, whatever, there's I was actually looking at his trading page here. I think this is new. At least I don't remember seeing it before. He's actually got some links to bots, some trading bots. And I would say that if Jameson has, vetted something and said that it's a good trading bot, that it's probably legit. I mean, do your own research, of course, but Jameson is about as legit as it comes in the space. He actually, I don't know if he's the co-founder or if he just runs it or something, but he's involved with a company called Casa, and they're I use one of their services. They do like a managed multi-sig Bitcoin wallet, and so what it is basically it's a way that if I were to get hit by a bus, my wife would be able to use their managed recovery service to access my Bitcoin, but only after proving to Casa that I'm dead with like a death certificate. So it protects me against, not that I'm super concerned about this, but some people are. It protects me against my wife being a bad actor and going to them and trying to get it. She would have to be able to like show legal proof. But then it also allows it so that, because my hardware wallet is pretty hard to get into. I'm a nerd. It's very complex. I was trying to like show my wife how to use it, and that's what ultimately got me to use this service, because she was like, I'm not going to remember all this if you die, and so anyway, so he's legit, man. I would say that he's done a lot of work in the space, so if he's got a link on there, it's probably good. If you have any questions though, you're always welcome to run it by me. I'm happy to take a look at stuff too.
Thank you.
And I just saw your message, Greg, on Meetup. I just saw it in my inbox. So I'm glad you joined, man, because otherwise I would have messaged you like almost an hour after the meeting started.
No, it's all good. And do you own like other more quote traditional end quote assets in addition to Bitcoin? As like
not really, although I did at one point. I mean, I have like a 401k or whatever through work, I actually was in the stock market for a while using money that I got from Bitcoin gains. And so I have since sold all my stocks though, and used that money to I used some of the money for home improvement stuff, and then the rest of it I bought more Bitcoin. So
right.
And I have a little bit of precious metal, but I probably won't buy any more just because my Bitcoin has so outperformed the gold and silver that I own. I just, no offense. I know you mentioned, it's just
that's all good.
I mean, for me, honestly, man, I have a weird, without going into my life backstory, I have sort of a weird entry ramp to Bitcoin. I was unbanked for several years in the early 2000s. I had to go to grocery store customer service counters to pay utility bills and stuff. Half due to some bad decisions on my part, but I also got screwed over by Chase Bank, actually, of all banks. And so now, I have I wouldn't say unique, but we'll say an uncommon perspective when I first heard about Bitcoin, that it definitely appealed to me because of that. And so I don't know, I come to it from sort of a different, I'm a nerd, who also has struggled through not having a bank account. So when I heard about Bitcoin, it was like, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. Sign me up. So I don't know. Before that though, I was pretty poor. And since getting into Bitcoin, in addition to just having a longer term mindset about investing and saving, which I didn't really have before, I didn't really understand how money worked until I got into Bitcoin. Before I got into Bitcoin, though, my plan A was to pretty much just like work until I die, which I think is a lot of Americans' plans, is
Yes.
to just, you know, work until I can't work anymore, and then hope that I'm, you know, taken care of until I kick it. So, and now thanks to Bitcoin, I mean, I've more than doubled my salary, right, in this since the time I got involved in the space, which I'm sure probably would have happened to some degree even without that, but I mean, maybe not. And then also, just like I said, just have more of a mindset of like saving and buying Bitcoin and trying to hang on to it for at least a year, and then, you know, and then evaluating, do I want to peel some of it off to, you know, we just got flooring done in the house, you know, like that kind of thing. So I will say that lately, probably over the last year, especially as I've started, I don't know, I'm getting older, right? Like I'm in my 40s now. And I will say that I don't have as much of a hold mindset as I used to. I did not sell any Bitcoin up until probably the last year. But then I realized, you know, you can't take it with you, man. And if you're not enjoying life while you're here, then what's the point? So I sold a little bit of Bitcoin over the last like year, paid off some debt, you know, bought some toys, and now I still got a lot of Bitcoin and a lot less debt and less stress and some fun toys to play with. So
There you go. That's what it's about.
Fair enough.
I'm a gadget nerd. So it's like, yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I get to do things like, you know, I made more money last year than I have in my whole life, but I also donated more money to charity last year than I have in my entire life. You know, it's like you got to be able to like use that money wisely. And for me, it's like, I don't know, I'll probably, honestly, I don't ever see myself, even if Bitcoin is super spiked at this point, another 100x or whatever, I don't see myself ever having more than probably like 10 to 20 mil. That's just not the kind of person I am. Like anything beyond that just feels, it's like unnecessary, man. Like I got, you know, got almost everything I want right now, and I don't have anywhere near that much money. So
well, that's a nice piece of change to have, brother.
it is. I mean, hey, I mean, yeah, right. All I need is 10 million. That's it. That's all I'm asking. It's not a big thing, right?
Hey, you're
Elon,
speaking it
make it
into existence, brother. You're speaking it into existence.
I mean, Bill Gates and Elon, like, you know, sneeze and like they fart out that much money, right? So
there you go. You're right.
Hey, Dan, I'm happy to take it off your hands, man.
right, yeah. Anything excess, right? I'll send your way.
So, Greg, did you get all of your questions? Anything else that we can provide for you?
Are there any in-person events scheduled or planned, like conferences or things in Bellingham?
Well, we have some people here at my office up in Bakerview Square. Most of the time, last week we had quite a few people here. You know, because of the COVID, you know, we really kind of gave people the option to come in person. I provided masks for anybody that needed one. You know, just gave them the choice to, you know, plug in this way or come in person. And so we'll keep you abreast to any upcoming things. I know that we were responsible for quite a few of the events in Bellingham. We've been trying to do something like that, me and Dan, like, you know, go somewhere where they actually accept Bitcoin, you know, for everybody to have that experience of actually being here in our locality and being able to use it. There's a few people we talked about, but they were in the hospitality restaurant businesses. And of course, you know, they've been kind of struggling over the past 20 plus months in that industry. So when some normalcy returns, then of course, you know, we'll look at trying to find a couple of places in our community that we can gather and have a beer or something, or a burger or sandwich or something, you know, gather together. That's our hope. You know, we were doing that in 2016. You know, we had about a 3,000 square foot facility that was kind of like a co-working environment. You could come bring your laptop and, you know, work from there. We had a little coffee place in there, the whole 9 yards. So, but when 2016 hit, and of course Bitcoin stayed at about 3,000 forever. You know, I mean, everything kind of went out of put. Nobody was interested in mining because there's no money in mining if there, you know, Bitcoin is this price. I mean,
I sold so much.
yeah, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So, you know, these are things that, you know, we cannot predict, but thus is life. But if we position ourselves, you know, in a good way, then it doesn't matter. you know, what crypto does. As long as you're positioned where you want to position and taking advantage of the opportunities through education. Okay, there's a lot to learn, and you know, you may not need to know everything while you're making some money. Just pick a number, you know, whether it be $100. Remember, PayPal also offers 4 different cryptos that you can
Right.
purchase. Okay, so just make
They-
sure that you're aware of that. Yes.
Are they allowing withdrawal yet? I know they said they were going to. I haven't looked.
Yeah, I looked at it, and there is 4. I think there's like Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and
Yeah, but can you actually withdraw it though? Because I know when
from
they-
PayPal. I don't know of
Yeah.
anybody that has, because I've never used PayPal.
I have,
Yeah, I haven't either.
Have you?
I haven't got any notifications.
Oh, okay.
I
So,
don't think you-
you can't pull it off. You can't get liquidity right
I
now.
mean, you can cash it out.
Oh,
Yeah, but yeah, if you want
But
to
you
trade,
can't move it
send
to-
it to your own like
can't move it
your own self
oh,
custody.
you can't move it to another wallet. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, they don't have
It's
custodial
like
wallet.
so it's like Robinhood, Ernest. You can buy it on
Oh,
the platform.
yeah, Robin the
sell
Hood.
it on the
Yeah, I know about Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Robin the Hood. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's yeah.
You know what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Robin Hood. People say, "Oh yeah, you can get some Bitcoin on Robin Hood and you can trade it." I said, "Okay, good luck with that."
Everyone that I tell about Bitcoin, the first question they ask me is, should I buy on Robinhood? I said, no, don't buy it.
You know what?
Because you're not actually buying Bitcoin.
No, you're not. And that just shows how green they are, and that's why, we don't want to hold the wealth. We want to share the wealth because it's enough out here for everybody, right? If you can put people in a position where they don't have to deal with the current banking system, I mean, who knows when it'll exhaust itself? I mean, they're not going to let go too soon. I just tell people to be careful because the chameleons are coming. They're going to come disguised as a coin, but they're actually just centralized banking. You know what I'm saying? That's why, people like the Tether, because it's a stable coin that holds 100% of its value. Okay. And, you got to educate yourself on it. That's the only one that if I would suggest to people that want to trade. Okay. Because you can take your profits and put it in Tether. Because, as soon as you go to an exchange to purchase Bitcoin or whatever, you're losing right away because, next 2 minutes, the price could change. If it takes 15 minutes to get to your wallet or whatever, or to whoever you're sending, right? Well, with a stable coin, you can retain your profits. And then when it goes down again, you can take and use your stable coin to buy more of that crypto. If that's what you're into. I just tell people to use the stable coin. It's the most popular. But again, it's USDT. So it's kind of like the centralized banks like it. Because they don't lose no money, right? It's a stable coin. You know what I'm saying? So they get people, you just got to be very careful and make sure you don't get an okie doke. Oh, I see Gary. Hello, Gary.
Hello.
All right, you just popped in there. Are you brand new, sir? Gary?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Nice to meet you, bro. All right, so this is where we're at. We do it the first Monday of every month. But you can chime into our channel anytime.
Okay,
Okay, and can become a member if you want. You can continue to communicate
okay.
via that way as well. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, no problem. Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Nice meeting
have a
you.
good day.
Okay. So Gary, I was trying to get your attention. Have you been here before, sir? You're probably muted.
Oh, he's unmuted.
Was he unmuted? Oh,
You might be having some audio issues, maybe.
oh okay.
Who's
Have
that
you,
the other
have you,
gentleman there with you, Ernest? I forgot his name.
TJ?
TJ, that's right. Hey, how's it going, man?
Good, man.
So Gary, are you based out of the Bellingham area here? If you want to oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I see you in the chat there. Right on. Well, welcome. Appreciate you joining via Zoom. We try to have both options available for people that are able to make it in person or for people that that prefer to join remotely. Oh, hey, Mark. We've got another person joining here.
Awesome. The more the merrier. So tell us about yourself, Gary. Are you not able to unmute, or you're discussing?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I
Yeah.
hear you now. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, great. I don't know what was going on. Thank you for hosting. Appreciate it.
It's all good. So tell us about yourself. You're from the Bellingham area, or are you new
I
to
am.
crypto?
Yes to all of that. I moved from Los Angeles about a year ago.
Okay.
Been into blockchain and crypto for a while, and I saw the group pop up, so I figured I couldn't make the last meeting, and I was
Well,
on a
you're
phone
welcome.
call right now, so I just got here. What did I
You're
miss?
welcome. You're welcome. Well, basically, we just went around and did introductions to everybody that was here. We've had a few people leave here physically, one
Okay.
person, and we had a person drop off. So we're giving you the floor to introduce yourself and what your interest is in this space and what you've done or learned.
Oh God, yeah, a lot. I think my greatest interest right now is like tokenizing of physical assets and learning more about how we can create liquidity in areas that have not had liquidity previously, different asset classes.
So you mentioned tokenization. So you're talking about commercial real estate and tokenization?
Yeah, anything. I'm into vintage watches, so just things like that, and art. Just the
NFTs.
yeah, the possibilities that could be created from these different types of technologies. I'm really interested in.
Okay. All right. Well, I do have some things you can take a look at.
Cool.
When you mentioned tokenization, it really keyed in on me because there's a great opportunity in Dubai for you to tokenize real estate at $9.63, I think, square inch right now. And if you do Google search in Dubai, most commercial real estate, first, let me just point out these things. In order to be involved in commercial real estate, and it has been spoken of in the United States or North America, but here's the problem. Commercial real estate requires you to have had or earned an income of $1 million plus 3 years in a row and be worth $1 million just to be able to be invited to the party. Here, this opportunity, you don't have to do it because the owner is a multi-billionaire and he owns the 36-story commercial building. And so he's decided for the membership to give them this opportunity, because if you do the search, it's about $1,300 to $1,400 a square foot in Dubai. Okay. And tokenized real estate, NFTs, again, all this is exciting because it's the technology of blockchain and where blockchain is going. Okay. There's some great opportunities out there, some of which I've taken advantage of, and working with people all over the world to educate them on this space. So if you want to send me some information in the chat there, I'll pull it out of the chat, email address, and I'll just send you some information. No obligation. Okay. But since you mentioned tokenization, that means you're up on tokenized real estate, because right now, tokenized commercial real estate is the only thing I know that you can tokenize at this point.
Oh,
it
interesting.
doesn't mean that in the future it may not be a residential opportunity. But then again, when you own the building and you decide that you own the building and you want to tokenize it and have people become members and own a piece of it, it's the best 5-star Airbnb you'll ever have. Because if you buy enough, you can actually get a condo, you can get a studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom for a reasonable price. And when you're not in Dubai, most people that visit Dubai, they go in the wintertime, right? And they usually stay there for 3 months, and you get paid for them staying in your condo. But I'll send you information.
Okay.
And then you can make your decision. Okay.
Great. I'm going to mute myself. Thank you so much.
All right. How about you, Mark?
Hello.
How you doing, Mark? How you doing, sir?
Pretty good, thanks. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And you are from our local community, or are you from Canada, or where you hail from?
I am in Seattle. So.
Oh, you're in Seattle. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Relatively close, I guess.
Yeah, you're about 90 minutes south, depending on how you drive.
Yeah. Always just go through Bellingham on the way to Canada, but
Awesome.
can't go
Awesome.
there anymore. So
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. So
It's,
how long have you been in the crypto space?
I've been interested in the space for quite a while, but more actively a little bit in 17, kind of got interested in Ethereum, then sort of dropped out during the winter and just kind of thought, well, it's interesting, but so about now, just about a year and a half. So kind of just sort of post-pandemic got kind of into the DeFi
Okay.
summer there and kind of got really down into the rabbit hole. Just kind of been NFTs, tokenization, as you're talking about, just kind of what is going on. There's just an explosion. So I'm just drinking from
Technology
the
is
fire
definitely,
hose right now and just
you're
looking
right.
for groups and people that are interested in the space. So yeah, it's tangential to I'm a technologist. I've been in software and tech for many years, and I'm working in security right now. So
awesome. Well,
it
Dan
touches
is
on.
Dan is also in IT and cybersecurity, and I also have a couple of degrees in computer science as well. So
Fantastic.
it helps to make more sense when you kind of have that background, but it's not necessary to have that background.
Right.
Because all you have to do is be willing to learn. You know, you don't know everything, and that's not your fault. But when you don't want to know, now that's the problem. Okay,
For
because
sure.
you know, because one thing's for sure, it's not going anywhere. Okay,
Yeah.
and it just makes sense, right? You know, it just makes sense. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, you control all of your digital assets. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you can get instant liquidity when you need to, with obviously minimums in place, you know, whatever you put in place or whatever you decide to do in this space. What we kind of covered before you popped in is people had different questions about how to get started, uh, where would they get started? And we tried to just share with them that, you know, you just want to start somewhere. If you don't have an exchange, you know, we shared the best one that we think that's user-friendly, Coinbase.
Right.
Then we also explained to them that we don't want them to leave all of their crypto on an exchange. We also covered with them having a cold storage wallet so that they can take whatever assets and crypto they have and put it in that one spot, and they
Okay.
have control over it anywhere they go in the world. So it's a great platform because, you know, you have a mixture of people, and the whole reason for the platform is to help people that don't understand and want to learn. We also
Fantastic.
shared with people to pick a dollar amount. You can go to what we shared was different or no, actually it's a Coinbase. You can buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. You can go to PayPal. You can buy $1 worth of Bitcoin, but I was just informed that they don't have any wallets. So even though you have it there, apparently you can't take it off. You know, I haven't dabbled in there. I know there's 4 different cryptos that PayPal will allow you to purchase, but I've never purchased from them. I've always used Coinbase in the past because it was user friendly. And the people I was working with, I could share with them and walk them through how to set up their exchanges, right? Because without the exchange, you can't do anything in the crypto space, right?
Right.
So that's what we
Yeah.
gather here. We have people over the past 5 years with different levels of knowledge in this space, but it's a safe place for people to come and get their questions answered and not feel like, you know, they're in the wrong space. There's no question that's not a good question, because if you don't know, you got to ask. There's no dumb questions, basically. People want to know about the space. They want to know how they can get started. And, you know, we're not financial planners. We just tell people to pick an amount that
Right.
they're comfortable with. And, you know, if that's $100, deal, dab that in there and see what happens, you know, for a week, 2 weeks. As soon as you get some profit, pull your profit. You know what I mean? So, you know, we're here to help assist anybody, even after the event. You know, we've been doing this for a while, so people can become a member of our meetup group. They can communicate with any of us inside of that group. You know, we're waiting for the magic opportunity to be able to, you know, go out and, you know, socialize for a cold beer and a sandwich or something we can pay with Bitcoin. What we can pay with Bitcoin, right?
Right.
So that's what we're hoping, you know, once this pandemic, I call it pandemic,
Right.
moves beyond what we've been dealing with, okay? Because this will pass and people will start to, you know, gather again. And this is how we do it. We opened it up for people to come physically, and people can come online. And we've been doing online for quite a while during this scenario. So we just
Nice.
want to make sure that we have a platform for people to come and ask their questions. So
Fantastic.
glad to have you here, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been kind of good in some ways. I mean, I think a lot of these meetups have moved online, so you kind of can join a lot of different ones from all over the country and sort of see, you know, kind of what everyone's perspective is and who's interested in what. And yeah, it's been really good in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, how long have you guys? You said 5 years. You guys been around for?
This meetup group has been around for about 5 years. Yes.
Okay. Nice.
I've been in the space since 2009. Dan, I think, has been in the space since 2013, when it really started to take off, where the media really took it seriously, because, you know, they weren't going to pick it up until it hit 10,000. It actually hit almost, I think it hit 20,000 back in 2016 or whatever it was. But then, you know, then again, you know, the halvings came up again, right? It's 4 years. It's 4 years. So this is a cycle. We've seen it grow. We've seen it from 2009 grow to, I think the highest this year was, man, I think it hit probably about close to, I think it hit 67,000.
60, yeah.
You know, somewhere up in that neighborhood. So we've seen the growth, and it's only going to get stronger. You know, the next halving is probably about 3 years out now, I guess, somewhere around there. But I don't think it's going to become necessary to really worry so much, because, you know, I don't think that, you know, we're going to see what we saw in 2016, 2017, it fall all the way to 3,000 a coin. I just don't think that's
kind of past
going to
that
happen.
point at this stage. I think it's become a little bit more mainstream, and there's a lot more institutional investment going on.
Right.
So.
And it's on the futures market as well.
Exactly.
Okay. So
yeah.
You know, so, you know, things are definitely continuing to progress, and it just behooves people to educate themselves, because why wouldn't you?
Right.
You know, if you have a way to make money and nobody can track your money, you know, because if you hit a certain amount of money in the bank, the IRS already knows.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
This is why, that's why people are drawn to this opportunity, because, you know, they cannot pinpoint how much you're worth.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I'm trying to move most of, several accounts into exchanges right now, and it's it still is a little bit painful.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get open an account in BlockFi. I've got one in I've got one in Coinbase, one in Gemini, and I'm trying to open this other one in BlockFi, but it's been taking a little while, just trying to get everything, all the paperwork, because I'm trying to open a trust account in there.
Oh, okay.
So that's taking quite a bit of time. But yeah, even today recently just trying to move money in the bank, and it's crazy. I'm just getting used to you know, crypto. I just move it and it's pretty much there. The bank, it's like, oh, I tried to move it a couple days ago. It's
where
like,
you get this money from? Where are you sending this money? Who are you sending it to?
Exactly. Or it just takes, you know, it's like 4 days to move money. I'm like, what is going on here? This is like T+4, T+3. Like, this is crazy. I mean, I can't believe it. So I'm kind of getting set up with the traditional banking system.
The banks have started to get kind of you know, they have a threshold that they're supposed to, you know, start paying attention if you do anything above that threshold. They like, I cashed a check from selling a car, check from a dealership here in town. It was about a $7,000 check. I mean, it wasn't a small check, but also not like, massive.
Mhm.
And they're like grilling me about it. They're like, "Where'd you get this? What was this for?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like, I sold a
Well, I
car.
thought the limit was 10.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 10, 9, 10.
Yeah, 9 or 10 or something like that. Yeah.
Now,
wow,
they
yeah,
look
that's
out for-
crazy.
they probably look out for stuff called like structuring, right? Where like
Right.
if you do a bunch of $8,000 transactions, they're gonna look at that because you're like clearly trying to be
Yeah, under the radar.
Mhm.
89.99.
Yeah, exactly.
That was not me. Like, I have not done stuff like that. So like they were just, I don't know. They just felt like giving me the third degree about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. People are getting tired of that.
Are you guys mostly focused on Bitcoin, or you guys talk about different networks and altcoin and?
Yeah, we cover the spectrum, we share what we do, and people share what they're doing or what they're curious to know about, so they can do. So it's an open platform. People ask whatever it is that they have questions about. Personally, I'm not an altcoin type guy because that's to me like day trading. And I tell people, if you want to gamble, go to Las Vegas.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just my perspective, but when I started this thing, it was an education and losing a lot of money to learn. And so that's why I advocate to people to educate yourself. I don't even want your money. I tell you, you get in where you feel you fit in. I don't know the depth of your wallet, but you can start with $100.
Yeah.
You can start with $1, whatever you feel comfortable with starting with, and then just progressively see what happens with that and educate yourself along the way, because there's a lot to learn. Okay, it's a lot to learn to be very versed in all the area. But some people may not want to, but I think that it's important that they understand all of it, and the gold is the blockchain.
Right.
And the gold has always been the blockchain. Bitcoin just happened to be built on that original blockchain. But because of the original blueprint, developers can add to or provide other development to this blueprint. And that's what we've seen happen with Ethereum and Litecoin and some of the others, right? So, it just depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
I think it's just even from traditional finance or centralized finance. I think it was like Henry Ford.
Mhm.
He said something like, if people understand what the monetary system was, there'd be a revolution and like tomorrow.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
as people kind of uncover the layers of central banking and the Fed, and I think right now in terms of just money printing, it's just gotten off the rails.
Yeah, and most people just was concerned about that paycheck they're chasing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you're not banked, it's difficult. If you're bankable, it's a little easier, but if you're unbanked, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a challenge, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
With crypto space, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just have to educate yourself to where you want to place your dinero, you know what I mean? And what you want to place your dinero in, and educate yourself, because, you're basically taking over the middleman position, and, that's the problem with the world is financial literacy. I talk to young college kids here in our local area. They still don't teach that.
Yeah, it's a crime.
It is.
I mean, people just don't understand,
No.
just the basics.
They just don't understand all. They just need a place to cash that check so they can pay them bills, right? You know what I'm saying? They don't think, but see, that's what a paycheck is. They keep you dangling at that paycheck just enough, let you make just enough so you'll come back to work tomorrow. Right? You see, what happens is that people develop a lifestyle. Isn't it amazing we don't have a lot, how you can survive, but then when you get a lot, more money, more problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Literally.
Yeah.
if you don't educate yourself, right? So education is a key component of life, you know, and we get in the rat race of trying to survive in different zip codes and stress and all the other crazy stuff that goes along with life. It still come down to choices. You got to do and make the best choice for you and your family. I ask people, what is your why? I mean, what is, do you dream? Do you dream bigger?
Right.
I mean, these are things that are important with the mindset, I mean, and trying to teach people can be difficult, but when people are curious, I find those are the best people and the most hungry people because they'll pay attention. They'll come with a pen and a pad, you know what I mean? Or they'll take
Right.
screenshots because they really want to know. If you really want to know, you're going to put the time in to learn it so that you can make the best possible decisions for you and your family. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
When you're green, you get taken advantage of. And it's easy for them to figure out if you're green. There's a few people in here tonight, very honest, they're just learning for the first time, but they're in a safe place because we have no ulterior motive here but to make sure that you get the education you need to make that decision in the space.
Right.
And we have the ability and the blessing of having different people come into these meetings with a little bit of knowledge one way or the other. And then they're able to find out things that are shared in this platform that they can take back and do their own homework. Because that's really what it comes down to, homework,
Yeah.
Just don't be greedy, take your time and take baby steps and see what you're able to do with that as you're educating yourself. And you know exactly what you need to put here, put there, or whatever you're comfortable with putting, But you need to know where you're putting it and what you're going to yield. And to me, like I tell people, the key component, if it doesn't give you instant liquidity, dump it.
Right. Right. Yeah,
So,
makes sense.
yeah. So, does anybody else have any questions? Dan, do you have anything else that you want to add there? Hey, how about TJ? TJ, you got any questions there, my friend, that you want to share with the group or ask?
No, right now I'm just kind of taking it all in.
Just kind of taking it all in? Okay. So,
I
that's
have
basically, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have a high level question about super high level, super abstract, right? But kind of the general Bitcoin value proposition. Like I understand the idea that it cuts out a middleman, and the risks or extra costs for the consumer that could potentially provide or be an issue. But I'm just wondering, like, based on your experience, are there any other what other high level benefits besides removing having a middleman who could potentially tinker with a ledger or something like that? Like, what other benefits are there to using Bitcoin?
Well, the benefit is you control your assets. You don't hand it off to anybody. You're learning how to make the decisions with your legacy wealth. It's basically what it gives you an opportunity. And, I mean, it just depends on how important that is for you. Me, personally, I don't feel comfortable giving my checkbook to someone. I've done that a few times and it cost me dearly.
Yeah, I think in a world of data breaches, that has become much more of a value proposition for Bitcoin, that you can send someone money without necessarily giving them any other information about you, and they don't have the ability to take that money again. In fact, they don't have the ability to take the money the first time. It's fully a push process from the buyer. From the seller's perspective, you mentioned chargebacks. Really, if that really helps the retailer or the vendor, if they choose to accept it as Bitcoin and they're not using some kind of fiat conversion service or something, it gives them the ability to have final settlement in an hour versus 90 to 180 days, depending on the credit card. Like my American Express, I could log into my American Express account right now, go find a charge from 5 months ago and dispute it. And because it's American Express, they'll almost always side with the buyer unless the buyer has like a pattern of doing that kind of stuff. I mean, as a vendor, that's a real danger. I'm sure it's rare, but it does happen. And with Bitcoin, it does not ever. So that's one. I mean, there's literally so many. I mean, like, unfortunately, we only have a few more minutes left in the meeting tonight. I mean, really, like, being able to send money, you know, you mentioned a middleman, but like, I think you gloss over and I'm not trying to, you know, call you out or anything. I think it's totally reasonable and common. Like, most people don't really think about like the implications of that, right? Think about it on the national level, or the sovereign nation state level, we'll say. You know, if you're a and I mean, I'll just call them out. I mean, like, not that I'm a fan of either of these guys, but like, if you're Iran, or if you're North Korea, you might be really interested in a payment network where the United States could not sanction you to stop you from using it, right? That's one way that the United States has sort of exerted its, we'll call it, you know, its hegemony across the world, right? Is its ability to enforce that empire in a lot of ways is done economically. And one way that we do that is by sanctioning countries. We've done it to a number of countries. And I do think that, you know, in the future, that's going to be one thing that is not going to be in our toolkit either at all, or certainly not to the degree that it is today, because Bitcoin is, you know, it's sort of a double-edged sword, right? It's like the good news is that political dissidents in North Korea can use Bitcoin to move funds around and escape, you know, maybe escape scrutiny of the state. The bad news is the state can do the same thing and avoid scrutiny of, you know, other nations. So, I mean, it is a bit of a double-edged sword, but that is absolutely a really strong use case, is that it is censorship. I won't call it censorship proof, but we'll say highly censorship resistant form of money, the likes of which has never been seen before. And if you want to know why that's important, you can look up Venezuela when they tried to get, you know, they had something like $1 billion or $1 trillion, I think. Sorry, forgot an order of magnitude there. Something like $1 trillion worth of gold in the Bank of England that the Bank of England was holding for them. And they asked for it back, and the bank said no. I don't actually know what ended up happening with that. That was like a year ago. I should follow up and see. But like, there's a lot of power in being able to move all your money around with a couple of keystrokes, and nobody can stop you, whether it's 10 cents or 10 trillion. Well, maybe not 10 trillion, just because of that would exceed the market cap of Bitcoin at this point. But someday
we're close, brother. We're almost at 3 trillion.
Yeah, sorry, kind of a long and rambling answer there, but I mean, there are a lot more too. There are so many more. I mean, you know, the Lightning Network allows for super low fee instantaneous payments that are settled instantaneously as well. So like, that has a ton of advantages from a retail perspective. You're starting to see even some retailers that are passing on the credit card processing fees to the consumer. You know, most credit cards cost anywhere between 2 to 3.5% every time it's swiped. In the past, places just ate that cost. But now, as we're starting to see some of those costs increase and like other costs increase, whether it's supply chain related or inflation, businesses are starting to pass that along. In fact, I think it was Amazon UK announced that they're no longer accepting Visa cards at all. So, I mean, what's the obvious, what's the alternative?
MasterCard.
Well, right. I can't say anything because my employer is owned by MasterCard, so I'm going to try and phrase this very carefully. There is a reason that both Visa and MasterCard are buying up crypto companies. Okay, like there's a reason, and it's because they're run by smart people who understand that, a business model doesn't stay static, right? And they understand what the next iteration of this is going to be. And that's why they're, in my opinion, I don't have any inside info. In my opinion, though, that's why you're seeing companies like Visa and MasterCard and more, traditional investment firms looking at, offering ways to give their clients or themselves Bitcoin exposure.
Chameleons.
Yeah, so I think it's, for me, my thesis is around decentralization, and I think that if you take a 50,000 foot view of this, of blockchain and cryptocurrency, you can see this future in which decentralization will disintermediate all of these centralized players. So, for instance, Facebook, Twitter, they take a lot of our information and they're making money off of our digital exhaust, if that's what you want to call it, off of our content, of us being content producers. So in a future, potentially, there is the possibility to disintermediate, to remove them as centralized players. So as a sovereign identity, as you own your money, that's your money, you do whatever you want with it, but you also own your identity and all the content that you produce. So all of these things are now taken out of the hands of central authorities, if you will, or central a centralized power that is using that to make money. So you can imagine in a future where if you post things into, let's just say, a decentralized Twitter or a decentralized Facebook, and people like those tweets or like whatever it is on, LinkedIn or wherever social media that is this decentralized version, you have the potential to earn either tokens, which would then convert into money at some point or some sort of value. And then you have the ability to allow advertisers to advertise to you, and they would pay you directly versus paying
you
centralized players. And you've also
stumble on
removed,
some ideas there that are already implemented in some different projects. Like the one to make money on social media posts, it kind of reminds me of Steam, if you're familiar with that.
Exactly. That was like a early project. It's been going on forever, and that's sort of the genesis, right? So I think Bitcoin being kind of in a historical perspective, I guess, but Bitcoin being kind of, version 1, it's kind of the OG. It's like the thing that started this. Ethereum being kind of like V2, and spinning out from Ethereum, you've got a ton of different networks like Avalanche right now, Solana. There's a lot of these that are coming out of the woodwork with large ecosystems that are forming around them. So if you start to look at this as the next wave of the internet, and actually using the internet the way that it was essentially designed as a decentralized system, it starts to get interesting. And then you couple that with sort of IoT devices, right? So imagine, your cars are traveling around and they're all sharing information. There's a token called Helium, or there's a company called Helium out there that's putting up hotspots. So you can buy a hotspot miner and you can mine token from there. But yeah, there's a lot of different use cases. And I think that, even like supply chain is a good one. That's the one everyone uses with various blockchains. So if there's an outbreak and you want to know exactly where that, that good came from, was like, some sort of meat or some sort of whatever the produce or whatever it might be, you can track directly where that came from through through its
technology.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling on, but there's a lot.
No, that's helpful. That makes a lot of sense.
So yeah, I think it's what Dan was saying. I think Bitcoin gives you this ability, along with some of the others, Ethereum being also sort of a form of money. It's getting really expensive, the gas fees, but there are layer 2s, and there are so Polygon Matic is a great layer 2 that's spun out of Ethereum. The gas fees are nearly zero. The transactions are nearly instantaneous. It's a huge project. And I think if you look into DeFi, you'll see that, for instance, if you just put your money into Gemini, you can buy a stable coin, GUSD, their own stable coin, and you can earn 8% on it. I mean, you can't get that at the bank.
Mhm.
So you literally don't really have to do anything, and it's very, very low risk. Essentially, you're just buying the Gemini stablecoin and staking it with them, and essentially earning 8% interest on your money. So it's like a
Right.
great savings account that is nearly risk-free. So it's providing a lot of interesting use cases that are
Right.
sort of
and
beyond
it
what is traditionally considered, the banking system.
right. And it's like the model, like the kind of paradigm is applicable to different sectors, different industries, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine this is going to affect every single industry. It will touch almost every single industry that we have. So you can imagine right now, they were saying that the fire that just happened in Colorado they thought it was some down power lines, but the last several fires that have happened in California from down power lines, right? And it's because the power company does not want to spend the capital to upgrade the infrastructure. So what happens? Well, it degrades, and then they eventually, the lines fall, or there's a big windstorm and it knocks the power lines over, it creates a fire. So if you look at something like microgrids, or, part of my thesis is a hyper localization. If you look at everything becomes much more local, but it's also much more decentralized in that sense. So you could say, what if you take everyone off the centralized power grid and you decentralize the power, and you have the ability to share power, and it's all tokenized. So you're basically generating and sharing tokens. I mean, there's a lot of different sort of interesting use cases around this idea of full decentralization.
Right.
You can imagine that could be in agriculture as well. So agriculture, it's a serious problem with nitrogen runoff, right? So they've got major algae blooms off the coast of Texas and in the Gulf down there, and so that's all because of industrial agriculture. So if you say, well, what if you could hyper localize agriculture? So you've seen sort of the gardens around the community gardens,
Right.
but you had the ability to harness all of those and then tokenize a lot of the information that comes out of that, and or some of the data, so they could sell data that they're getting from their gardens, and then you could also sell the produce, etc. So I mean, there's a lot of different sort of use cases around that as well.
Right.
Could be interesting. So I don't know. There's just, you can sort of imagine there's a future in which these DAOs, for instance, the decentralized autonomous organizations, right? It's essentially a employee-owned company, right? So you're no longer working for the man, if you will. You get to share in the profits.
Everyone's dream.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling on, but yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting space, and I think we're right at the beginning of. It's just beginning right now. We're kind of in the early days.
Right. And do you have like professional exposure to agriculture, or is it just kind of something you know a bit about?
Yeah, I worked for a CBD company, and they were vertical. So they grew hemp in Bend, Oregon, and I was their CTO. So I was building out supply chain for them, warehousing, and production. So they grew hemp, they harvested that, but they also needed, similar to the cannabis in Washington State, so they needed a tracking system. And so they would track that from the farm to the extraction facility, and then there was a lot of
It was vertically integrated.
correct. Yeah, it's a vertically integrated CBD company. And so they were wanting to track everything.
Right.
And so using, so the idea was blockchain for their supply chain. To understand, to know which plants. So there's, different strains of plant that they were growing and et cetera, et cetera. And so that was kind of one use case. Right now, my position is I work in elections. So
A little different than CBD.
yeah, it's a little bit different, but we were dealing with the last election and the craziness that was going on with that, along with mail-in ballots, and also dealing with electronic ballot return. And that's been a huge debate point and a sore point with a lot of academics. And so we're looking at blockchain as a way to assist with validation of the ballot and the ballot return to the
Right.
to the state or to the county, whichever. But yeah, so yeah, again, just a lot of different use cases. I mean, if you kind of come up with one, you can see where it would fit in. It's either tokenization or some sort of ledger, decentralized ledger.
Right.
Mark, I'd love to hit on two things that you said that I've been thinking a lot about. One was the building stage, and like, we don't know what's going to happen. I heard you say that multiple times. That's one of the things that scares me. So I took the MIT online course with blockchain. It's actually taught by Gary Gensler.
Gary
which is pretty
Gensler.
amazing.
Yep, seen it.
Yeah, because he's doing. But that's what scares me.
He's done a
is
180.
But what I'm thinking about though is there's one guy in particular who's a computer science engineer, and he interjects constantly. And he's the guy that scares me, because if somebody like that keeps building this, it's going to end up as a social score system instead of a decentralized platform, because all they care about is how we can validate your this to the bank to get you approved, instead of making it really about what it's supposed to be, is us taking back some powers that we've lost. So I feel like if computer engineers and IT people are the only people that continue to build these platforms and think about these problems, I actually think it could be a great disservice in some ways, because of the ability to track and print and mint and like all these fancy terms that get people excited.
Yeah.
So that's like something I just keep going back and forth. Like, yeah, like I'm hopeful for one, but I'm just scared that people like that are the ones that are going to keep getting listened to and trained at institutions like MIT, and are the one of four people that are going to sit in the room and keep building these things. That kind of makes me, I don't know, again, intrigued, because we're at the building stage. So I don't know what you think about that.
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, I look at AI with the same lens. I mean, I look at the people that are involved in machine learning, and it scares me. I mean, it's frightening. Some of the people I meet and I talk to them, and they don't seem to get what they're building. And you're like, this is not good. I mean, you can see it right now just in terms of a simple thing like resume scanning. Right? Like, I don't know if you saw, there's some guy who put up a fake resume and just wrote, he put all the good buzzwords in there, like MIT or Stanford, I forget what it was, right? And like, I got a PhD, like he wrote all the good stuff, but then he also wrote stuff like, drinking champion, like, drank 6 bottles of whiskey and barfed everywhere, like just weird, crazy things. And he couldn't get a job, and so he created this fake resume, and then he said the phone's basically ringing off the hook. Like, it was just crazy again. Like, okay, well, that's there's bias, and the bias is built in, and it's just, that's unfortunately, I don't know. I mean, I guess it is the industry, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that because this touches so all industries, that it will bring much more diversity into it,
Yeah.
and that sort of this idea of the unbanked, or people that are seeing it as a way to essentially free themselves a little bit, it would also bring a different element and bring other people into the space that would help it be more diverse. But I don't know. I agree with you. It's a little bit scary. At the same time, there's so many projects out there that are interesting, and it's sort of just wait to see what happens, right? It's like, is that an Alta Vista or is it a Google? I don't know. We'll kind of have to wait for that to flesh out, and I guess we'll see as we move forward. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, and then I think as well, it's just a lot of FUD coming out of the government with Elizabeth Warren, calling it shadowy supercoders, and just some of the things that she's saying about it is a bit crazy. And Gary doing a 180 on it's a little bit funny, but I get it. They're a little bit nervous. And I think it's mainly what maybe Dan was saying. It's, it threatens the hegemony. It threatens the dollar.
Well, but that was my other thing that was curious about it, though. So I was actually listening. Well, first thing I was going to say is, if you want to kind of like listen to the dark side of this, Lex Friedman has a podcast of a sociologist. He's a guy who studies truck drivers, and he's a sociology, I think, professor at University of Pennsylvania. Wow, like to hear him talk about autonomous vehicles and how that could change a whole like segments of the country, like these people that are making certain incomes, and what are those people going to do, and all the companies that are built based on that, the trucking companies that fix those tires in the middle of nowhere. Well, now what is that going to be, a software company? I mean, who's going to pull up to the Tesla and have to IT program it? Well, that's not the same person. So are those people going to want to live there in the middle of Nashville, Kentucky? Like, I don't know, but that's a fascinating segment too, of the sociology part of like what this stuff could all be doing with machine learning and everything. But so the stable coin thing was interesting to me, because if it's pegged to the dollar, doesn't it create demand for the dollar? Because how it derives its value, like I understand from transactions, being able to, go from centralized to decentralized platforms where you can't, change, this currencies and they only take certain, but what I'm just the economic impact of staking it to the dollar. Does the dollar then just become, instead of being the central, like the reserve currency of the world, does it be the reserve currency of
crypto?
I don't know, man.
I think
it's getting deep tonight. I wasn't expecting to get this deep, Mark. This is great.
Well, I think it's interesting because it's you're right, but I think that their concern is potentially this idea of liquidity or velocity of money, right? Like typically the money is in a money market, and that there's a certain pool of money there. And what I think they're nervous about is this sort of, I won't call it a dark pool, but it's a different pool of money that is technically out of circulation potentially, right? So people are now staking stablecoin, like I'm staking a bunch of stablecoin, and it's my savings, right? Not really, but effectively it is. But it's not in the system necessarily. I mean, I guess it could be from the reserve standpoint. So the question is whether or not Gemini is treating that as a fractional reserve. A lot of these neobanks and the crypto banks like Protego and Avanti are full reserve banks. And so that right there potentially is problematic as well, because that sort of constricts that money supply a little bit. So, I guess the ripple effect and the impact will be interesting to see from that perspective. I'm not sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what your take is on that, but it'll be, I guess it'll be interesting to see what happens. Because I think right now the Biden administration seems to be really anti-crypto. I mean, it seems like,
Oh, really?
between Yellen and Gensler. Yeah. I mean, Yellen, Gensler, and
Gellin.
Gellin.
That's their new name. That's their new name,
right.
Brangelina.
God, it's
Gellin.
Yellen, and of all people, Elizabeth Warren. She's in finance, and she's been the one that's been anti-bank, but I just don't see that. I mean, I think she has a point. There's a lot of scams running around, but at the same time, there's always scams. It's everywhere. And
One of-
the whole
one of my fa-
discussion
oh,
around
sorry.
money laundering is just ludicrous. I mean,
Yeah.
how many of these banks are money laundering, daily right now? I mean, most of them are involved in it. So
My cousin owns an art gallery. I know all about money laundering. Let's tell you, more money laundering has been done with cash than any other asset. Well, I mean, as the medium of exchange, the stable coin, as you would say. But yeah, I mean, come on.
right.
Oh God, it's so funny. Awesome.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Well,
art-
gentlemen, you definitely had some great input here, and I like to hear these kind of conversations. And
Yeah, that was really insightful.
it's really, really knowledgeable information being shared, different perspectives. I think that, me with everything, it comes down to integrity. And even in technology, you can have some bad players in any space, but particularly if they're hungry and they're not on great projects, then they will take money just about from anybody that's putting up something that's falsely generated, and they take advantage. So in other words, there's good things in the world, but there's a lot of criminals that criminalize it, okay? And you're doing exactly what should be done, holding a conversation about it, hearing different perspectives on the topic. And then you can get closer to, dabbling in it wherever you're at. Well, even with stable coins, and there's a few other stable coins out there, but the one that's most common that holds 100% of this value because crypto is so volatile, okay? And who knows how it'll end up. It's tied to the dollar because obviously it holds 100% of its value. It's a tool to be used right now until, you find out that it's not a tool that you want to use for what you're doing, right? So if you are a trader and you're trading your currency and you want to sell your profits, it's going to come at a fee, right? So if we can eliminate some of the fees by having, let's turn our profits into the stable coin, because we know that it's not going to be a 30% swing from today or tomorrow. We know that that stable coin is always going to be there, and you take that stable coin and buy some more Bitcoin or whatever you're mining, right? Or trading or wanting to trade. Again, in this space, most people, you're getting rewarded for staking. You're getting rewarded for having a master node or node, because why? You're holding it for a specified amount of time. So they're rewarding you for holding that coin or coins, okay? So there's a lot to learn, a lot that will be shared in the months and years to come. I believe, as everybody has agreed, you need to be knowledgeable about this space and find out what's comfortable for you and dabble a little bit and see and build your confidence up, with education. And you should do pretty well. That's just my opinion. So I've lost a lot of money, I've made a lot of money, but what I've learned that's most important is the real gold is educating yourself. Then you don't get caught up, right? And Mark, you seem very, very knowledgeable, and also Gary, you seem to know a little bit as well. And I'm sure that provided more information for Greg. Greg is kind of new.
That was very helpful.
And so, when you share this kind of stuff with them, and this is why we do what we do. So you have an opportunity to come and hear a different perspective, okay? People that are actually doing some component of this. And they have certain aspirations in this space, and sharing it with other people give everybody else another opportunity of deciding if that's where they want to go. So I want to thank you guys for your time, because we usually try to do this for 2 hours, and I think we're coming up on 8:30, so we have 3 minutes. I want to make sure that I extend to each and every one of you to attend next month's first Monday of every month. We hold this meeting. You can also, if you're not members of our group, you can become members. You can communicate within the platform to me and Dan as you choose to, or if you have questions about anything, just reach out to us. Don't have to wait a whole month. You know, you can reach out to us anytime about any question that you may have. And Mark, stay plugged in, brother, and we'll let you know when we have an event up here where it's safe to gather, for one. Because that definitely will be coming in the future. Love to have you. Love to have all of you come and visit us here at our facility. So you guys have a outstanding rest of your evening.
Likewise.
And Happy New Year to you and your families. And thank you so much for taking the time to come out and join us here.
No, thank you, Ernest. It was great. I really appreciate you hosting.
Thank you.
No problem. And we're here every month. You can reach out to me anytime. I'm here in Bellingham, Bakerview Square Business Suites. What is it? IHOP, Fat Shack, Woods Coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm located.
Fantastic.
Reach out anytime, guys. Give me a call. If I can help in any way, let me know, okay?
Awesome. Well, thanks for
All right.
having us
Thank you.
on. Yeah.
Thanks,
All right.
Mark. Thanks, everyone.
No problem. Have a
Thanks,
good
guys.
evening,
Thanks,
Next
Ernest.
one as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God bless
Talk
you
to you,
guys.
Gary.
Too.
Bye.
Have a good one. Good night.
All right. Bye, guys.